always say never trust technology. Human beings can do much better. I try to be brave in 7-9 minutes. It's like, speed dating, and you should, be very fast. And I try to make a couple of research that we have done with universities together. And if you want any kind of information, please, I'd be more than glad to send you by email. I think the model is very simple. EU wants, to communicate democratic values to Middle East, including Iran, where I am from. There is a sender, this communication model is EU, and there is a receiver, potential receiver, Iranian or Middle Eastern people. And there is the message, democratic values. Of course, there is noise, challenges, censorship, dictators, and so on. But just an interest versus, values that our friends talked about that in previous panel. Just imagine there's a perfect world and there's no noise. I think even at that period, EU cannot communicate its values because it's not ready. It doesn't know what message to communicate to which audience. I think it hasn't worked yet, to know what these people want, and so on. Let's little bit to see that during the last 12 months, what Iranians have done. If they were hopeless, or they were engaged, or they wanted to participate at that. The numbers I mentioned they are not representative of Iranian population, but they are indicators that give us some insights into what's going on. We are doing now a project at Harvard University to know about citizens and internet, and it hasn't been published yet. But just as a raw material that I can share with you, in 12 months we talked about 300, 400 Iranians within Iran, and most participated in online campaigns, and even more than one. And the best thing in that, when they say, do you think who is going to get influenced by that? They are not fool enough. They don't say the Iranian government, they don't say Iran media based in country, but the three things come first. Public opinion, international organizations, that is EU included, and international media, because the word is going to be spread and they are going to cover that. Before coming here, I talked and I sent email to 10 Iranian academics, writers, and cyber activists just to get their idea about at which period is the best to communicate democratic values to Iranians. Fortunately, Robert Parris, one of them, is here present. He can say that I'm not bluffing or lying about that. And one point was very interesting, that Iranians usually are indifferent to the political discourse, but when there is a question of campaign, social or political campaigns, is the best moment to communicate to Iranians. And they are ready to get, they have potential to get involved, they are ready to listen to them. I think what of the EU can do is at that moment not only cover these stories or amplify that, but presenting a lot of examples that what happened in these 28 countries regarding to this kind of campaigns against violence, for protecting the environment, and so on, to give Iranians much more, not only self-confidence, but know that there are people who are listening to them and creating a kind of bridge between different people. One other research that is done in recent months is by National Endowment for Democracy's project, One Voices. 5 cities were asked to whom they trust more. And between the candidates there was there was not foreign-based media. There were local media, local newspapers, local internet, and friends and neighbors. The first people that they trust are neighbors and friends. They don't trust at all to local media. But friends come at the 5 cities, including Qom, Ahvaz, Mashhad, and Shiraz. trends come first. Maybe what Gabriel Marquez says is true, that reality is not made of facts, but of the ways we relate them. The human voices have a lot of impact on people. And what EU has the potential to do that is that sharing in a completely attractive package the democratic movements, the people who make changes in these 28 countries, people who lead campaigns and so on in an attractive way by using animation or creative ways to Iranians or to Middle East people. It always, has good feedback. Asking people to listen to the democracy speeches or how the boring administration works is not going to work on. Nobody going to relate to them. It has never happened because it's going to create a kind of external concept that people are asked to follow rather than showing them that it is beneficial for them this way to go. The campaigns against violence, environment, corruption, and just name it, and it worked out. In Radio Farda, we had a very good experience when even Hegel becomes fun and people listen and relate to that. And we find out that Rami Janbegoo, Iranian philosopher in Toronto for about the rest of us, lectures, for years, into a small group about, Hegel or other philosophical concepts and how they have impact on Iranian society. It's kind of humanized that and simplified these concepts. But unfortunately, they didn't get hit. It has 200, 300 in YouTube, which is nothing at all. We just started to cover that on our Radio Farda's platform with video and so on. And thousands of people like, share, and send feedback. It becomes one of the most emailed stories. The reason I think is simple. People get related to them. And Hegel is not, or civil society doesn't become an abstract concept, but something that they can really live. I think more we do these stories, more we do this bridge making between concrete stories and Iranian population, it works out. Years ago, we did Arabs and Iranians work together. It's not a joke, it's true. We had the opportunity to work with Israel al-Sharifi from Bahrain, head of Middle East EU, and creator of it. What we did, we created an animation for jailed bloggers worldwide by focusing on Iran, because the first blogger who passed away in prison was an Iranian. And we really put it with a form of animation. And it gets, about 100,000 hits and views, and people like that. I imagine if you just put, a statement, it hadn't worked out at all. I just make a short wrap up to make, things move on in Iranian community and getting, this message of democratic values passed. We need to create online communities. But creating online communities is not an easy thing to do because it's kind of, everybody now is on bubble and they don't really connect with each other. It's through the working out with small groups, trying to make people interest on one concept. And what EU can do that is that to make these stories as human interest stories, which had very concrete impact on European societies, available to Iranians via creative ways, not boring speeches, but animations, man-to-man, woman-to-woman talk, and platforms that people can exchange. I think it will work out without any doubt.